Please welcome the CEO and co-founder of Anytime Fitness, Chuck Runyon.
All right. So imagine a viral contagion, one that has an adult infection rate of greater than 30%. It affects people in both rural and urban communities. It affects people at every education level and every income level. And it is a rapidly spreading contagion. In fact, imagine it spreads like this over a 1-month period. Worse yet, if one adult has the contagion, there's a 50% chance their children will get it. If 2 adults have it, there's an 80% chance their kids would get it. Imagine this happening, right? Imagine the panic. Imagine the urgency, right? Imagine the focus on solutions. You might be wondering what this is. This is not Ebola or a zombie apocalypse. Right? But we are experiencing an epidemic that has an infection rate of greater than 30% for adults across income levels, education levels, and in rural and urban communities. And this is also impacting kids. The difference is, it's a slower moving epidemic, right? It has not played out over 30 days, but it has played out over the last 30 years. This is a real illustration of what our country is experiencing, or has experienced. Back in 1985, very little data, right? Only a handful of states had an infection rate of maybe north of 10%. In 2020, half the states in the country, right, will have an infection rate of over 30%. This is the obesity epidemic. And when we mention the word obesity, right, we have to mention the words type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular heart disease, hypertension, stress, and certain forms of cancer. And it's funny because over the many years, I've had numerous conversations with healthcare executives and medical professionals. And I've kind of asked them, I said, this is the future of health, right? How do you feel about the future of health? Do you think the health of our country is going to get better? Or do you think our health of the country is going to get worse? And surprisingly, right, I'd say about half of them think the future of our health of our country is going to get better. But this is the future of our health. By 2040, every state in the country is going to have an adult obesity rate north of 30%, right? And unfortunately, right, I'm a born optimist, so it's difficult to think about this. And maybe part of the problem is this is, for many organizations, also the future of wealth. Right, there's a great deal of money to be made, right, as our country, right, gets worse, as our health grows in the wrong direction. And so, why, right? We have more data about obesity than ever before, more detailed food labeling than ever before, more government and childhood-focused obesity initiatives than ever before, more wearables, apps, and diets than ever before. And I can attest, right, as the CEO of Anytime Fitness, we have more gyms and studios than ever before. Right? So why is this problem getting worse? Well, we found a clue at the Minnesota State Fair. How many people here are from Minnesota? All right, for those of you not from Minnesota, if the Manova Summit is at one spectrum of health, the State Fair is at the very other end of that spectrum, right? It is maybe the unhealthiest place in the world, right? So we found a clue at the Minnesota State Fair, but it's maybe not what you think. Let's watch this video.
Do you know what the weather will be like here at the State Fair?
Today it's going to be sunny, like 70s.
It should be about 70s and pleasant.
I think it's supposed to be sunny.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
Sunny. It's supposed to be beautiful.
Be 73 and sunny.
Oh, yes, it's going to be up to 71, but with the chill factor, it's going to feel like 69.
No, how much gas is in your car right now?
Probably about a half tank.
I think we have about 3/4 of a tank.
Actually just filled up a couple days ago, so pretty much 90%.
6 gallons in a Ford C-Max hybrid.
I believe my tank told me I got 25 miles to go.
I think I have like 390 miles left till empty. Yeah.
That's very specific. Do you know your resting metabolic rate?
No.
Do you know your resting heart rate?
Nope.
Oh, I actually don't.
Nope.
Nope.
I do not.
No.
Nope, no idea.
No idea.
No.
No.
Most people do not. Do you know your resting heart rate?
I think per minute, I think it's 20 something.
That's really low. I don't know mine either. Okay, for your age, body weight, lean muscle mass, assuming you want to maintain your weight, do you know how many calories you'll need to eat a day?
I don't.
Do you know how many calories a day you should consume to maintain your wonderful weight?
No.
Do you know how many calories you should eat per day?
About 100 some.
That's very low.
No, I have no idea.
It's like 2,500 something.
I think it's like 1,800.
I'm guessing probably like 2,500.
Do you know the mix of protein, fat, and carbohydrates you should eat? We call it macros.
Nope.
How much time would it take for you to walk the state fair and burn 500 calories?
Ooh, an hour?
Longer. It's craziness.
10 minutes?
20 minutes maybe?
Hours. Hours. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
So as you can see there, and actually as our last speaker was talking about, right, we know the importance of IQ and we can measure it. Over the last couple decades, right, we've actually put more resources towards understanding emotional intelligence, but we are body illiterate. It is 2019 and we don't really know how our bodies work. We don't know how to move it, what to feed it, or how to rest it, as the last speaker just attested to, right? We know more about the weather, know more about our cars. We just simply don't know how our body works. We are body illiterate, right? And we've got to find a way so people understand, right, how their body works and give them a tool, right, to measure it and be effective and take responsibility for it. And so BQ, right, your body quotient, right? We'll talk about it here. But let me ask you this. I'll say that we have low BQ because there are no consequences for failure, right? More importantly, there are no rewards for our success. And today, we don't have a culture that values personal wellness. And let me ask you a question. Raise your hand if you think good grades, right, should help your kids get into a better college. Most people agree with that, yeah? Raise your hand if you think a good credit score should help you get a loan. Most agree. Raise your hand if you think a good driving record should lower your insurance rates. By the way, I am a terrible driver. I have too many speeding tickets, so I wish we pooled our insurance together, right? I would pay less, you would pay more. It sounds like another industry, doesn't it, that where we're pooling people together, right? I wonder how that would affect our driving behaviors. Would we adopt unhealthier driver behaviors because there were no consequences for that? And so therefore, all right, raise your hand if you think a good personal health score should lower your health cost. All right, so what is or isn't a personal health score? Again, this is a big topic, it's complex, but let's talk about this at a high level. First of all, what isn't a personal health score? Let's be very clear on this. It's not a punishment for health issues you can't control. It is not a vehicle for judging or body shaming, right? And it's not an unattainable ideal. This cannot be something just for the wealthy, just for the educated, or just for the genetically blessed, right? This must be democratized. What is a personal health score? An ongoing measurement that takes into factors you can control, right? A way to incentivize positive behaviors and reward good decision making. It's essentially, right, the FICO score of your personal health. Something that is standardized, that is accepted, that you understand, and that you can control. And so let's talk a little bit, when I brought this subject up with healthcare executives or medical professionals, it's usually two lanes. It's, why do we need it versus how do we do it? And so let's again talk a little bit more about the why. And let me first share a personal story and what is really a sad irony. So I am CEO of Anytime Fitness. I've been in the industry for 30 years. Right? We have we're the largest fitness franchise on the planet. We are soon to be on all 7 continents with nearly 5,000 global units. A company started here in Minnesota. And personally, over the years, I have sold thousands of memberships and motivated countless people, right? So I've had a courtside seat to helping people and seeing them, right, go to work in clubs every day to improve their health. Yet, as I stand here today, right, my mom is in transitional care due to consequences of obesity. She's in Boutwell in Stillwater as we speak. My father-in-law has lost his foot due to type 2 diabetes. And most of my extended family are dealing with consequences due to unhealthy behaviors over the course of their adult life, right? But look, my mom didn't stand a chance, neither her generation. She was born in the 40s. We did not have a culture of wellness. She did not at all garner any type of body intelligence to help her. And think about her adult life, the ubiquitous tsunami of soda, fast food, sugar, and the cycle of inactivity that was going to happen in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. She was not prepared. Neither was the baby boomer generation, neither was Gen X, neither the millennials. And I got to tell you, Generation Z, the sitting generation, they are no better prepared than my mom's generation was. Despite the assortment of tools, the assortment of data, they do not have any type of different body intelligence. And I can't help but wonder, if my mom was born and in her adult life, if she took on her personal health score, if she had higher body intelligence, could this have been prevented? Right? Could have been prevented for the baby boomer generation or the generations of the future. And so what's at stake? Right? First of all, this is not just a weight issue. This is not things that don't show up on the scale, right? With unhealthy individuals or unhealthy communities are higher incidence of weight discrimination, teen bullying, drug and alcohol abuse, right? Academic performance. This is a quality of life issue. This is not just a weight issue. It's a serious economic issue, right? As I said before, right? There's a lot of money at stake. And as an individual, obese patients submit 7 times the number of medical claims and spend over $200,000 in excess in their life. And by 2030, the direct and indirect costs annually will be $1 trillion. Right? It's going to get worse. It's going to get more expensive, right? And the reality is, let's be honest with ourselves. We're really good at keeping unhealthy people alive longer. That's really the state of our healthcare today. We are really good at keeping unhealthy people alive longer, and we can make a heck of a lot of money by doing it. So the worldwide obesity has tripled since 1975, right? It is today the #1 cause of death worldwide. Obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, the #1 effing cause of death, right? More than smoking, more than armed conflict, obesity and cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes are the #1 cause of death worldwide. So we talked about why, but really the question is why not, right? We've seen how this works, right, for both grades, driving record, right, FICO score. Why not a personal health score, right? It's time. So we also talk about the how. Let's talk about that for a bit, right? And this is where the complexity comes in, because #1, who determines the number, right? Who creates the algorithm? Who makes sure it's fair? Right? How do you balance personal privacy and a personal health score? I mean, these are all very difficult questions. And look, we need collaboration. We need standardization. Our brand is working on a body wellness index score. I'm sure there are many organizations here at the Manova Summit who already have their own scoring. They might have their health risk assessment, right? Every agency, every industry is kind of working on its own. What we need to do is standardize it so it is universally acceptable. It's understood. It's effective. It's measurable, right? And technology today is already starting to democratize personal biometrics, right? It is something where individuals can now do at home. And guess what? The technology of the future is only going to get better. So we can understand our body easier, cheaper, right? Make it accessible, make it affordable, make it effective, make it measurable, right? Don't think in today and what's available. Think about in the years ahead how technology will enable body intelligence, right, to happen immediately and be an ongoing measurement of your health. And then this is obviously something for the public and private sector, right? We need that collaboration to make this work. And you know, to me, it's like our moonshot, right? I told you before that the baby boomer generation is already on their way, right? We're gonna have a very expensive health debt coming, right? And millennials, Generation Z, there's already some bad behaviors in place. I think ahead to my grandkids. I do not have grandkids yet, but in the future, how will our grandkids be the healthiest generation this country has ever seen? How are we going to do it? Because what we're doing isn't working. And we know that the environment is not going to get healthier. Right? There's going to be more fast food. You can now order it on your couch. Heck, you can order food from the supermarket. They will come and stock your fridge. You can pretty much, with virtual reality, you can go on vacation, order food. You can do everything from your couch and a mobile phone. Right? Inactivity is going to increase. Access to high caloric junk food is going to increase. That's cheap. And so, again, what we're doing, the status quo is not working, right? We've got to think differently. We need to, how difficult was it to imagine ourselves on the moon? If you really think about the issues of a personal health score, it is incredibly complex. Pre-existing conditions, as people age, gender, health conditions, things that are can control, you can't control. I mean, it's a very dynamic score. It's complex. I surely don't have the answers, but we need that moonshot thinking. We need that collaboration, of hundreds of thousands of people or a think tank to set this country up for a culture of health in the future, to stop, right, prevent what is already happening. And so, look, it's a global problem. This is not just US, right? We are exporting our unhealthy behaviors at a very fast pace. We are in 40 countries today, and I can tell you in every developed country, obesity is on the rise. This is an American epidemic, as we stated, and it gets very personal. I told you a story about my mom and my father-in-law. I bet you everyone in this room is somehow impacted by obesity. A relative, a friend, right? Type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, it is a very personal problem. And I'm in that sandwich generation, right? I will be going to visit my mom this weekend as I'm also raising kids. And look, unfortunately, I'm an optimist, but it's going to get worse. And I really think we're at this crossroads, right? Look, we have two choices. We can either pay for and care for everybody, right? One option or the other, or we can transfer more accountability back to the individual. I mean, it's either one way or the other. And I think we can do that, right, by designing a personal health score to transfer some of that accountability back, but also, more importantly, give them the knowledge and the tools, right? Give them the body intelligence to make better decisions and build a culture that rewards that, right? There are probably, I'm sure, we can think of many ways that you can use a personal health score to lower healthcare costs. Maybe you can put it on your resume, your college application, your mortgage statement, whatever, right? There are probably ways where we can turn your health into currency. And, I've had a courtside seat to some amazing life transformations over the last 30 years. At Anytime Fitness, because we are convenient and we're a community-based club and we have passionate franchise owners who welcome everyone of all shapes and sizes and whatever's going on in their life, right? We have more empathy than the average brand out there. And so therefore we've transformed people's lives. When people take control of their health, it affects everything. It becomes a power source for everything in their life, right? It affects their relationships. It affects their work environment. It affects their home environment. Most importantly, it affects the relationship they have with themselves. They now renew their self-respect and self-love. It raises their self-esteem. They make better decisions. They are happier, right? I have seen the power of great health as being a power source for everything. And I've seen the opposite. Because again, not everyone who joins our clubs makes a life change. I've seen people, again, continue to battle with depression, continue to battle with esteem issues. That again, unfortunately, radiates out to every aspect of their life, right? Your health is either the greatest asset in your life or it's the biggest liability in your life. And we help. Our slogan is, let's make healthy happen. Our members need our help. Very, very few people can do this alone. Very few people. They need a coach, which is why we continue to invest in holistic wellness coaches. They need a caring franchisee who's involved in the community and knows them to help them get over their humps, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it is. And so, our members need our help more than ever before, because when they step outside that club, they have to drive home, and between them and home is about 12 fast food restaurants, right? When they go to a convenience store and fill up with gas, there's coolers of sugar-laden beverages, right? And when they get home, technology seduces us into being less active. So they need our help to live a healthier life outside the gym. And just as our members need help, right? I need your help. If this idea of a personal health score, right, inspires you, sparks something, if you have an idea, if you want to be part of the solution instead of the part of the problem, that's my personal email address. So I'm passionate enough about it to just give you direct access. Look, I don't know where this can go. I don't know where we can take this. But we need smart people who care, right, who are willing to think differently, who are willing to change the status quo and reclaim the health of our country. Thank you.